In this video we will learn how to use this editing group, and currently it is deactivated. In order to activate it, we have to select the surface or object which we want to either pattern or mirror or do any editing in. So on this surface I will create a hole, a linear hole with offset references, this and this, and their distances are 50 and 50, and I want to create a standard type of profile with countersink type of upper surface, and this whole one, if I want to create holes on other regions, I will have to create this hole again and again, but this process can be made easy if I select this hole and try to use this editing group. uh, First of all, I would use this pattern feature. So the dashboard of pattern will look like this, and there are different types of patterns that can be made. The very first one is the dimension type. First direction will be the dimension, like if I select this, and the offset distance for this dimension I set it to be 150 and press enter. So this hole will be created here at this point. If I change the number of members to 3 holes will be created at these locations. Similarly, second direction can be added by selecting this first, then selecting the dimension, this dimension and its offset value 100. Number of members can be changed to 4. So one hole can be converted into a number of holes using this pattern feature, and if we want these 2 holes to be excluded from this feature, you just have to click it once and here once, so these 2 will be excluded. Now if I press OK, so the holes are now patterned over the surface. If I want to delete it, I will simply right click over this object and press delete. I will be left with the original hole. Similarly, there are different types of patterns. This time I will try to use directional type. In this case, I will set the direction in the form of the edge. For example, if I bring my cursor near this edge, so first direction will be this. The arrow is showing outward direction. In order to make it inward, I will flip this direction, and the spacing can be increased or decreased manually or using this spacing box 200. Number of members can also be increased or decreased. Similarly, second direction can be selected by selecting this second direction and then this edge, and the spacing can be increased 200, and number of members can also be increased. And if we don't want any of the members, we just have to click on that particular location, so this member will be excluded and this member will also be excluded. And if you want to create it, you just need to press OK. So these holes are created. Some of the holes are not shown as the this extrude feature is not available there. So we can also edit this by editing the sketch, change this value to 700 and press OK and press OK. Now those two holes are visible. This is how we create a direction type of pattern. I will be deleting this again, and using this hole I will be creating the third type of pattern, that is axis type. So if you click on it, then we have to select an axis. Right now there is no axis. If I select axis display, currently the model doesn't have any axis, so I will be cancelling it first, and I will create an axis on one of the planes, for example this plane. Using this datum group I will be creating an axis. I can also use the offset references, this and this, cancel. Vertical axis, again I will create axis on front plane, and it will be through the front plane, and this axis. So now it is a perpendicular type of axis. Press OK. My reference axis is created, and I will be creating an extrude feature on the top surface. This time a circle, cancel. On this surface, using the sketch view, I will create a circle, press OK, Control D, and its height can be changed to 50 units. Press OK, and this extrude 2 can now be patterned using the axial type of pattern, and the direction number 1 can be selected using this axis that we just created, and number of members can be increased to 8, and the angle can be 360. So it is a circular type of pattern. Similarly, radial direction can also be increased. Second direction is radial direction, and radial distance can also be increased or decreased. I will be having 2 radial members, and the radial distance is 70 units, and angle between the members is 60, or there are two types, angular extent or angle between the members. I have set it to angular extent. So entire number of total number of members, for example if there are 4 members, they will be divided across 360 degrees. So after every 90 degree there will be a pattern. Similarly the number can be increased or decreased. If I press OK, so I can see here the axial type of pattern. In a similar fashion, there is another type of pattern, that is fill type. In fill type, we have to define a sketch first on one of the planes, for example this top plane. Sketch view, I will define a rectangular sketch, corner rectangle, in which the feature will be filled. Press OK, Control D, and the spacing can be increased or decreased, like 70 units, and border can also be given some value, for example 10, or if I press 0, so the pattern will be very close to the border. And the type of grid can also be changed. Currently it is set to square pattern, then diamond pattern, then there is a hexagonal, and there is concentric circular pattern. Spacing can be reduced, for example 40. So this is another form of fill type of pattern. Similarly, we can use mirror feature here. If I select it and give it a mirror plane, for example this plane, this hole will be mirrored on the other side. Press OK, and if I want to create these two holes on the other this side over here, I will be mirroring them again using this plane as the reference, and if I press OK, so the mirror is also complete.